So continuing on with task number 20 for the urinalysis, we just spun down our urine sample to do a urine sediment. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the centrifuge. We're going to take out just our distilled water tube. We're all done with that, so we're just going to toss that into the garbage. And then I'm just going to carefully take out my urine sample that was spun down. Don't really see too much that accumulated at the bottom, which can also be good news, meaning that our friend does not have any sediment in his urine. So we're just going to go ahead and decant the supernatant and just leave a very little bit of urine at the bottom. So I'm just going to come over here to the sink, and we're just gently going to just pour out the supernatant. Just leaving a little at the bottom. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our pipettes and we're just going to put it in so it reaches the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and just mix it up a little bit. So as you see, my pipette is mixing it up. Okay, so I got it in my pipette, and then on my slide I'm going to put one drop on the left and one drop on the right. Kind of towards the middle. Okay, and then we're done with that, so we're just going to throw that out. So then I'm going to put one cover slip on the drop that I put to the left, because that's just going to be my unstained sample. Okay, and then I'm just going to take one drop of our urinary sediment stain, and I'm just going to add one drop to the drop of urine on the right, and then we'll put a cover slip on that one as well. So again, you just need one drop. Okay, put that back on. And then we're just going to place a cover slip on that one as well. Okay, so they are side by side. So as you can see, I just have my one slide over here on the left, or to my left, that is going to be the unstained urine part of the slide, and then over on the right I have my stained urine, and we're going to take a peek underneath the microscope. So I'm just going to bring it over here. We're going to put it on our microscope. And then I'm just going to take a moment to move the camera over here and get my stool ready, and then we'll take a look at it underneath the microscope. So, just give me one moment so I can just get set up. Oh, we're a little close. Push right over here. Alright, should be good about right there. Okay, we'll try that. Get my stool. Alright, usually I do it from the other side, so bear with me. You just gotta get used to having you on my left hand side. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take a peek underneath the microscope. So again, we already have our slide on the microscope secured. We're gonna put on our light. Right now we are under the 4x power lens, which is generally where we like to start, just to make sure that everything gets into focus and into place. And we're going to go all the way over to the left, and we're going to start with the unstained portion of the slide first. And again, I always go left to right just to make sure I'm covering everywhere on the slide and the cover slip. So I'm going to go ahead and just get focused first on the 4x lens, just so that I can get nice and focused before we switch over to the 10x objective lens. All right. As of right now, we are fairly bright, so I'm just going to go ahead and lower the light. All right, and we're going to make this wider so it fits my eyes. Perfect. I feel like it's not too bright now. I'm just going to focus a little bit. Okay, so I feel like we're nice and focused. So I'm just going to switch over to my 10x power lens, which is going to be where I can start looking for some casts and crystals that might be in the urine. We're just going to fine tune it a little bit. Make it a little bit wider. It's always a little hard with these goggles for me. I'm going to fine tune. Smidge more. Okay, and again, we're just going to start looking for some of the larger crystals and cysts, or casks, excuse me, that might be on this slide. And again, I'm going to go from left to right. So far I'm not seeing anything, so we're just going to go up, and then we're going to go from right to left. And again, I'm doing all of this on my unstained portion of the slide first, just to see, you know, where my urine is, just as is underneath the cover slip. Still don't see much of anything. Maybe a little debris right there. Okay, and then that is the end of my cover slip. Still don't see anything. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to move up, and then we're going to go from left to right. And all while I'm moving, you know, left to right and right to left, I'm using my left hand just to fine tune it if I think I see anything. Which again, luckily so far with this friend, I have not seen much of anything. Maybe a little debris here and there, but so far very boring, I guess you could say. But boring is sometimes good in this case, because, you know, that means we have a normal urine. And again, this pug, it's just a geriatric screening for a urinalysis. We don't suspect that he has any kind of urinary tract infection or anything like that. We just want to make sure that, you know, his urine is healthy. Alright, that's the end of the slide. So we're going to go ahead and go up. And we're going to go from right to left. A couple little air bubbles. Another little piece of debris. So again, this is the objective lens where I'm going to be looking for some crystals, or larger crystals and casts. Still not seeing anything. And that's the end of this cover slip. So again, I'm going to go up, and then this is going to be the last portion of the unstained part of the urine. So I'm going to go from left to right. And just a little debris. I'm not seeing any casts or any crystals. Okay, so now that I looked at the entire cover slip for the unstained portion of the urine sediment, now I'm going to move over to the cover slip that has the urine with the sediment, just to see if I see anything on the 10 times objective lens over there. And as long as that's clear, then we'll move on to the 40 times lens. So we're going to start at the bottom left, and we're going to go from left to right, and then carry on from there. Looks like the stain uptake is really good. I see a lot of color, but again, I'm not really seeing any crystals. I'm not seeing any casts, just some debris here and there. which is good news for my friend. Alright, that's the end of the cover slip, so we're going to go up, and then we're going to go from right to left. Luckily for this friend, it's still very uneventful. And then that is the end of the cover slip, so we're going to go up. We're going to go from left to right. While focusing in here and there. And that's the end of the cover slip over there. So then we're going to go up, and we're going to go from right to left. Just a small couple air bubbles. Still not seeing any larger casts or crystals. Alright, fine tune a little bit. And then that's the end of the cover slip. So then we're going to go into our last section, which is going to be from left to right. I'm not seeing much of anything. Okay. So far we are negative. I don't see anything. So now I'm just going to readjust everything. We're going to start back at the beginning, which is all the way to the left on the unstained slide. And we're going to go to the bottom left corner. And then we're going to switch our objective lens over to the 40 times objective lens, to just look a little bit closer just to see if we see anything else. So generally on the 40 times objective lens, this is where you can start to see some red blood cells, some white blood cells. You'll see, obviously more crystals and casts if there's any. This is also a point that if there's any bacteria in the urine, or if there's any epithelial cells or anything, you can start seeing that all on the 40 times objective lens. So again, oh, my foot's falling asleep, excuse me. So again, I'm going to just take a peek, and we're going to look underneath 40 times objective lens first on the unstained portion, and then go over to the stained portion and see if we see any of those cells or anything underneath the microscope on the 40 times objective lens. Okay, so again, here, I'm just going to turn up the light just a smidge. I'm going to focus. Okay, and then we are going to start. And again, we'll start from going from left to right. So far, not seeing much of anything. Which is good news for this friend. Alright, so that's the end of the slide. So then we're just going to go up. Then we're going to go from right to left. Still not seeing much of anything, so we're going to go up. And we're going to go from left to right. Well, luckily, I think this friend is going to luck out and have a pretty unproductive urine sediment. So I still don't see anything, so then we're going to go up. We're going to go from right to left. Just another couple little tiny air bubbles. Not seeing any crystals or casts or any red blood cells, white blood cells, anything like that. So this is going to be the last section of the unstained part of the slide. We're going to go from left to right. Okay. So far this friend is negative for everything, which is awesome. So now we're going to be over onto the stained portion. So again, I'm going to go down to the bottom left corner of the cover slip. And we're going to do the same thing. We're looking out for any epithelial cells, any white blood cells, any red blood cells, any other casts or crystals that maybe we didn't pick up on the other setting, which was the 10 times. We're going to continue on with the 40 times objective lens. See if we see anything on the stained portion of the slide. So again, we're going to go from left to right. So far, is not much of anything. So that's the end of the cover slip right there. Goggles are killing me right now. And then we're going to go from right to left. I'm still not seeing much of anything. Little debris right there. So then we're going to go up and we're going to go from left to right. And that's the end of the cover slide. So then we're going to go up. And we're going to go from right to left. Okay. Still nothing. End of the cover slip. So then we're going to go all the way up. And again, this is going to be from left to right. And this is going to be our last strip on the 40 times objective lens. So as long as we don't see anything, we're going to go ahead and call this urine sediment negative. Okay, so that's the end of the cover slip. Again, I have not seen whether we are on the 10 times objective lens or the 40 times objective lens, and whether it was the unstained portion or the stained portion of the urine sediment. I did not see any casts, any crystals, any red blood cells, white blood cells, epithelial cells. I saw no bacteria at all. So I'm going to go ahead and call this urine sediment all negative. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the light. I'm just going to take off my slide and throw it into the sharps container because we don't need it anymore. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and push my microscope back a little bit. And then I'm just going to come back over here just to clean up the area and just put the results in the record. So bear with me. I'm just going to move you back over here. Alright, we're going to go over like this. Sorry about that. Okay, so the stool is put over here. I'm gonna make sure my cap is back on my urine sediment stain and put it back over here where he belongs. Distilled water is gonna come back over here. I'm just gonna throw out my caps and my old urine tube and this pipette because we are all done. Cover slips, want to make sure we are nice and secure, and we'll put that back over here as well. And then the wee pad can go in the garbage. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just put the results into the computer, kind of in that same section where all of our other physical and chemical parts of the urine were noted in the record. So we're just going to zoom in just a little bit. So again, this is the same patient that we were using earlier, where I put in all of the physical aspects of his urine over here. We put in the chemical over here from our reagent strips, and now over here there's another section asking about just the urine sediment. So I'm going to go ahead and just put the information, zoom out a little bit so you can see me, put the information in. So as far as the urine sediment, I'm going to click right over here, and I'm just going to say urine sediment was all negative. As far as description, just going to say did not see any casts, crystals, red RBCs or red blood cells, WBCs, white blood cells, bacteria or epithelial cells. I am calling this urine sediment all negative. And then just down here for technician, I'm just going to put my initials TF. Want to make sure we come over here and we hit save. It's going to upload everything, and then we exit. And then all of our results for this patient are now all summarized in this nice section. So the doctor, I'll go let her know everything, and she'll take a look at that as well. So we're just going to zoom back out. Okay, so then that is the urine sediment portion of the urinalysis. So I'm just going to go get a couple of cool pictures to show you, and we'll just discuss some of the common crystals and casts that we see on a urine sediment.